Hey guys, what's going on? This is Chrissy Pissy from Team Evil. Hey guys. Uh, guys. Hey guys. Alright guys, I got a couple comments here. Ard Wraith, a real creepy atheist, left some comments quoting Richard Dawkins: in a universe of electrons and selfish genes, blind physical forces. This is ridiculous. This is a scientism view, a Darwinian view, and Darwin is laughable, but they accept it as truth because they're able to quote it out of a book, River Out of Eden. Wow, impressive. You wrote you didn't write, sorry, you read a Richard Dawkins book. Or at least you quoted it. Maybe you didn't even read it. You just pulled that quote. And then the guy wrote, you cannot handle the ostensibly extremely logical conclusion that there is nothing after death. Nothingness. So all of this out of nothingness. Isn't that incredible? Really, I can't handle that. And said something about wanting irrefutable proof. Well, there's never enough proof for any atheist, ever, that there's anything beyond this realm and the material realm. You can't prove to an atheist that there's a spirit or an afterlife. Maybe this is proof, these images of angels, these beautiful angels with wings. Atheists will never look at the evidence. So there's never enough. They'll never look. They'll never look into near-death experiences and what people describe. They'll just write it off as, oh, that's just hallucinations and chemical reactions. How about you look at a few hundred? In other words, do what many of us have already done. You won't do that, though. You won't study and analyze near-death experiences. If they were hallucinations, they'd all be fucking different. They'd be hallucinations. They'd have nothing to do with death and an afterlife and have the same abilities. They wouldn't have so many commonalities. But you don't want evidence. You want to pretend you have it figured out. I suspect that some of you atheists, perhaps most of you, perhaps even almost all of you, may not have a spirit at all like mine. Maybe for you there is no afterlife. Maybe that's why you don't sense that you have a spirit, that you're just a body, a flesh suit. Maybe that's all you are. Maybe when your body dies, it's lights out and not even nothingness, non-existence for you. Could be. And a lot of you don't fear that because you're not really alive to begin with, are you? Are you? What do I mean by that? Well, you might be breathing. You might have a pulse. But are you truly living? You can't think beyond this place. You can't imagine something being beyond this shithole. This is all you can think of where you are. What you see is all you can imagine exists. And if it doesn't say so in a book by one of your favorite atheist authors, your Freemason, part of the club, famous on the world stage, shills, then you can't imagine it, can you? You don't feel your own spirit. You don't behave like a spiritual being. Maybe you don't have a spirit like me. But you want irrefutable proof. Well, where's the proof for Darwin's evolution of the species? You really don't have any. You have a bunch of frauds, right? That have been discovered to be hoaxes. One used parts from pigs. You've used parts from chimpanzees. Fake skulls, bones. You've done all kinds of hoaxes. You're hell-bent on proving something that is not true. One species, one kind doesn't turn into another. You'll never get fish to turn into a wolf or a bear or a tiger or a bird. You can't even get a dog to turn into a cat. It doesn't work that way. They can't even breed with each other and produce offspring. But billions and billions of years, they just magically turn into something they're not, a different species. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. time doesn't create magic. You Darwin believers believe in magic, don't you? A kind of laughable magic, not a kind of real magic that can be practiced and observed. You can't observe your evolution theory. You can't test it. You can't repeat it. It doesn't follow the scientific method whatsoever. And your excuse is, well, there's so much time involved. You can't even prove how old this realm is or this universe. And you Darwin losers believe in a Big Bang theory that came from a Jesuit priest of all sources. You're losers. That's what you are. And no amount of evidence would prove anything to you because you don't want to look at evidence. You're already stuck in your Scientism belief system. Your Jesuit, Freemason, controlled occult system of belief. And a lot of you low-level atheists that aren't famous are too dumb to realize you've been duped by dark occultists. That's what your science is controlled by. Dummies. It's controlled by secret societies like the Jesuits and Freemasons and other groups. You don't have a clue what you're following. You're el stupido. You don't know. No bueno. You don't know. You don't know. You know nada. You know nada. You know nothing. You believe shit because it's in a couple books by Richard Dawkins, an old high-degree Freemason, Darwin. That's what he was. And so was Sir Isaac Newton, knighted because he was part of the club. And that's how it works. It's controlled. You don't believe other books, though. If it's written in a book that I've read and studied and say, what about this book? You say, oh, that's not true. That's not written by a famous atheist. You're locked in your belief system. BS, belief system. That's what you are. You want to live forever? You don't believe in eternity. You think you're going to achieve eternal life this way. Like a cyborg through transhumanism. Some kind of cyborg Terminator is the dream of a lot of you atheist losers. You're losers. And when you find out there is more, once your body dies, you're shocked. You can't believe it. And then these entities have their way with you. You never look deep enough. You skim the surface. You believe yourselves to be intelligent because you're able to quote losers on the world stage that are famous, like Dawkins. He's a loser, and he comes across that way. He comes across like a loser-controlled opposition shill, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, similar to him, and the replaced Stephen Hawking and Carl Sagan and others on the world stage. Bill Nye, the science guy, bought and paid for, and that's what you dummies follow. Well, they're famous. They're on TV. They publish some books. Some books. Well, anything could be written in a book. It doesn't have to make sense. Have you ever seen an electron or an atom? Or have you only seen cartoon renditions made by artists? Same for satellites. See, you believe shit and you believe yourself to be scientific, but you're a fool involved in a cult of scientism, a religion of scientism. That's what you are. You don't have a clue about this reality and metaphysics, the metaphysical and the supernatural, and what exists beyond this level. You don't have a clue. You don't have a fucking clue. You just read, believe, repeat. Like a sheep. That's what you atheists are. And that's why I'm responding to this. Not because of that one dummy that showed up out of nowhere and left a couple comments. My model makes sense. What you believe doesn't add up. You believe shit, and you believe it makes you seem clever, and it doesn't. It makes you seem like a fool. That's all it makes you seem like. Foolish. There's plenty of atheists who have had near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences and changed their view. You're the type that has to experience it directly. You're the type that would say France doesn't exist and Australia doesn't exist if you haven't been there. You think it all relies on you being there. I should present what immediately? If so far you've seen nothing, you haven't watched all of my videos. How about you look into it? You look into life after death instead of leaving comments like that, which is easy to do with your smug atheist ass. You don't look into things deeply, do you? You don't. You don't. You're almost all the same, you atheists. There's almost no difference. Go ahead, quote that creepy weirdo, Richard Dawkins. Why do you think he's famous? How do you think fame works? Have you looked into anything in this realm to understand how things here work? Have you done any work? Have you done any research? I don't think you have. When I typed in atheist weirdo to AI, some of these images came up. By the way, that's where they came from, except for the Android ones. I think for those, though, I typed atheist cyborg. Something like that. But for this, I typed atheist weirdo, and this is what popped up, some of these strange images. Strange, isn't it? But it's fitting somehow, that's why I saved them. Atheist weirdo. And they are weird. They're very strange. They believe in non-existence and nothingness. They believe in nothingness creating everything for no reason, suddenly, out of nowhere. It makes no sense. It's laughable. It doesn't pass any litmus test or any laugh test. It's laughable what they believe. It's ridiculous. And it's funny that they see themselves as clever and intelligent. And they're fools, they're dupes. Their whole belief system comes from Freemasonry and Jesuits. Whether it's Galileo, Copernicus, Sir Isaac Newton, Darwin, Richard Dawkins, the Huxley brothers as well were involved in some of it. Their family. That's where it comes from. It's all controlled. It's all contrived. It's all designed to dupe you. And they'll say, oh, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. You don't have to. Conspiracies run this realm. They fuel it. The wealthy and powerful bloodlines have conspired for as long as this place has been around to maintain power and keep the masses deceived and dumbed down and duped. And you atheists are part of it. You're fools. You're foolish. But I do suspect you probably don't have a spirit like mine. You can't imagine there being more than this because you're just kind of a dumb animal. Aren't you? Aren't you? And I laugh at them. I don't think they'll change. Part of it is they're so smug, they believe that they have it all figured out. And they don't have anything figured out. They're just followers of lies. They're just sheep. They're as much sheep as anyone that's in any religious cult. There's no real difference. But they'll try to say, well, we're into science, not religion. Same thing in this realm. Science, religion, it's fake science, scientism, and science fiction. It's all the same. William Shatner even said that. There's no difference. It's the same thing. Science and science fiction. It's the same. He's on video saying that. And it's funny because it is. That's a truth drop. It is the same thing. May you one day realize that, but I suspect that you never, ever, ever will. I don't think you're capable of realizing that. I don't think atheists are capable of realizing the supernatural is real. You're in a supernatural realm. They don't realize that metaphysics is real. Magic is real. The power of will and mind and intention are real. Power of imagination is real. It's not animals creating all this stuff. Dumb animals that evolved over billions of years from some plasma soup, some chemical mess. Primordial soup is what I meant to say, not plasma. Primordial soup. Your beliefs don't make sense. They're illogical. They're laughable. They're ridiculous. They don't even add up biologically. And biology is one of the sciences you're supposed to be into as an atheist. That's part of your religion. Science. Right? But you're a fool. You don't have to study anything. That's the beauty of this realm. You can be ignorant forever and ever and ever as the lights go out in this realm and as the stars are changed and as this place is entombed. You can stay here. You can stay here with the demons that run this place. You can stay with them. You don't have to look at the evidence. You don't have to look at the data and the totality of the evidence. It shows what this realm is. You'd have to do more than quote Dawkins. You'd have to study for years, which most of you atheists don't do. You're lazy. You're very lazy. You stay in your little atheist box and you only read and quote and watch atheists. You're limited. You're closed-minded. You're a slave to famous liars. You're a slave. Nothing more. There you go.